I want to bring in Texas Congressman Keith Self. He serves on the House Foreign Affairs Committee and the House Veterans Affairs Committee. Great to have you here, Congressman. Let's get back to Iran here. We've got this extended ceasefire. Does this benefit the U.S.? Does it benefit Iran? And potentially, is this President Trump giving Iran a little bit of its taste of its own medicine here, where, you extend this out as long as you possibly can, and it hurts them economically?
Well, Iran has a very weak negotiating position here. Let's just be honest. And I think the extended ceasefire, the president is trying to get the negotiations going again. I understand that. But at the end of the day, Iran is in a weak position, and I believe that we will have to finish the job eventually. We have control of the strait now. Make no mistake about it. The small boats can make a lightning attack. But frankly, if he's told people to start attacking them, we have the assets to do that. So we control the strait. China is the big loser in all of this because we control their Venezuela production. We control the Strait of Hormuz. So China is the big loser here. Let's just stay the course and see how this plays out.
That's a great point to bring up, the impact of this on China, especially ahead of the president apparently going to be meeting with Xi at some point in the future. I want to talk about a New York Times opinion piece. It's arguing that the U.S. blockade on Iranian ports may actually backfire on President Trump. The article saying that the blockade may impose costs on Iran's economy and population, but it will not deal a quick knockout blow that the president is seeking. And the blockade has reduced the country's oil revenues to a fraction of pre-war levels, but they say it is likely to be some time before the consequences become untenable for Iran's regime. Do you agree with that?
Well, I agree that it's not the knockout blow because we still have the uranium, 60% enriched uranium that we don't know where it is and we haven't gotten it yet. That's a problem. And right now, the hardliners are in charge, the guys with the guns. So the Ayatollahs, I don't think are in charge right now. I think it's the IRGC. So they are calling the shots. So that's a good point, but we are slowly strangling them. And that's the whole idea of this. When are they going to come back to the negotiating table, give up the uranium for sure, and then make a deal? So that's the way this is playing out. It will take a little bit more time. But I think that the slow strangling is the issue here.
Yeah.
Do you believe that Iran will give up the uranium? I mean, that ultimately is one of the main points of this potential ceasefire and an agreement. That's what President Trump wants. He doesn't want them to have a nuclear weapon. He's stated that over and over again. Do you believe that they will? Is that something the IRGC, if they are in fact making this deal, will do?
I believe if they are under enough pressure, yes, they will. Because remember, their first priority is regime survival. The people of Iran will determine that. The second priority is their nuclear program. So are they going to give up their uranium in order to have some sort of a deal to allow the regime to survive unless the Iranian people take it in their hands to change the regime? We need that uranium. I think we'll get it.
Yeah. Let's move on to this. There's a tug of war going on in Texas between the governor, Greg Abbott, and statewide law enforcement agencies. The governor says that he may withhold $200 million in public safety funding for the cities of Austin, Dallas, and Houston if those cities fail to cooperate fully with federal immigration authorities. So elaborate on what's going on here. What are these cities trying to do, and what has the governor upset about this?
Well, this is what the blue cities in Texas want. They want their illegal aliens to stay. They don't want to have them deported, repatriated to their countries. They need them to stay and vote. Look, the national issues are the Save America Act, and frankly, the DHS funding to include ICE and Border Patrol. But within the state, most state grants have a huge chunk of federal dollars in them. As the county judge in Collin County, I used to manage some at the county level. So we're talking about federal dollars here largely that the state then manages and administers. So the governor is doing exactly the right thing to say, I am going to enforce federal law. And frankly, the Houston City Council, I think, wants to do it. It's the police that don't. Who's in charge down there in Houston? Is it the city council or the police?
Bye.